Hello friends, in previous video we have studied the starting of three-phase induction motor, in which we have studied we cannot start three-phase induction motor directly and connect it to the supply. We have to use a starter in order to reduce the starting current as well as to reduce the high starting torque. Now we have also seen what are the various starters that are used for starting of three-phase induction motor. So in this video we are going to study one of the starter, that is direct online starter. Now let us see what are the learning objectives in this video. So in this video, we are going to study about the direct online starter, and then we are going to study the theory of direct switching or direct online starting of three-phase induction motor. So let us start with the video. So initially, we are going to study about the direct online starter. So basically, in case of direct online starter, we are providing directly the rated full voltage to the induction motor via the starter. So if we see in this diagram, this is the line voltage L1, L2, L3. Now instead of giving this line voltage directly to the three-phase induction motor, arrangement is connected between the supply and the motor. So this is called as starter arrangement. So the figure shows the direct online or DOL starter. So let us see what are the various components of the starter. So here we can see this is the OLC, that is overload coil. Then this is our three-phase induction motor. Here we have the contactor coil C. Then M indicates the main contacts. A is the auxiliary contact. Then there are two buttons. First is start push button. Second is stop push button. Then D is the contactor which is used for the overload protection. Then S3 is the remote stop switch. Then there are also the fuses which are connected in each and every phase. Now let us see the working of this starter. So it basically consists of contactor coil C as shown in this figure, which is mostly operated with the help of start push button and stop push button. Now as I have already told you, this contactor coil C is operated with the help of start push button and stop push button. Now let me tell you the position of all these switches. So this start push button is normally open. So while starting the starter, start push button is open, whereas this stop push button is normally closed. So I have closed the button for your better understanding. Then this contactor D is also normally closed, as well as this remote switch or the remote stop button S3 is also closed. So these are the initial positions of all the buttons of the contactor. So here you can see, even though you start the supply to the motor, you can see that as this start push button is open, the circuit is open. It is not completed. So the supply will not reach the motor, and even though you provide the supply, the motor will not start unless we start the starter. Let us move further. Now let us see what will happen if we press the start push button. Now in order to start the motor, first we have to press this start push button. So let me press the start push button. So as you press the start push button, the circuit is closed. So here you can see, as I have pressed the start push button, now my circuit is closed. So let's see what happens now. As my start push button is pressed and my circuit is closed, this contactor C will energize through the two line, that is L1 and L2. So let us see how the supply will reach to the contactor. So from L1 and L2, the circuit is complete. I will show you by this laser point. So in this way, here stop push button is closed. Then even remote stop is closed. The contactor is closed. So the path is complete. So in this way, from these two line points L1 and L2, the contactor will energize. Now let us see what will happen when the contactor will energize. As the contactor energizes, the three main contacts, that is these three, which is connected in each phase of the induction motor, they will close. So here I am closing the contacts. As well as the auxiliary contact will close. So the terminals A and B are also short circuited. Now you can see the total circuit is complete. So what will happen? The three-phase supply will directly reach the motor. So the motor is thus connected to the supply and it will start operating. Now suppose I want to stop the motor. What will I do to stop the motor? I have to just press this stop push button. But before that, This start push button is the press button. So once you release the pressure of this start push button, what will happen? You might think that button may go back to its original position and motor will get disconnected from the supply. But this does not happen. When we release the pressure on the start push button, it does not go back to its original position because there is a spring action. So it will be holding itself in its position, that is a closed position, and so the contactor coil C will continue to remain energized through the points A and B. So here again I am going to show you the original position or when we have started the button. So my contacts are closed. A and B is also closed. Here my stop push button is already normally closed. Then remote stop is also closed. Here D contactor is closed, and as I have pushed the start button, this S1 switch is closed, and now my motor is running. And now you can see my motor is running on the rated supply voltage. Also, this auxiliary contact A is called as hold on contact. Now let us see how to stop the motor. So when I have to stop the motor, what I have to do? I have to press this stop button. Now we have already seen the stop button is normally closed. Now let us see what happens when I press the stop button. So when I press the stop button, initially it was normally closed. So it will become normally open. Now you can see here as it is open, my circuit is also open now. Initially my circuit was closed. So what will happen? This contactor C will be de-energized. Now let us see what will happen when this contactor is de-energized. So as my contactor is de-energized, the auxiliary contact will open, the main contacts will open. So you can see the motor gets disconnected from the supply. So see here, since the coil C is de-energized, the main contacts and auxiliary contacts are open, and as a result, supply to the motor is disconnected and motor will stop to rotate. Now there are also certain protection schemes which are provided in the DOL starter. So first we are going to study about the under voltage protection. So suppose in certain case, when the supply voltage falls below the certain level, then what will happen? It will cause the failure of supply during the motor. So what will happen here? As your supply is falling below certain value, this contactor C will de-energize. So automatically as it is de-energized, the contacts will go to their original position, they will open and the motor will be disconnected from the supply. So this was about the under voltage protection. Now let us see what happens in case of overload protection. Now I've already told you this D contact is used for the overload protection. Now let us see how it works. So I'll show you the running condition and the position of various switches. So this is my normal running condition. Now suppose the overload condition occurs. So what will happen in case of overload condition? One of the overload coils are de-energized. So these are our overload coils. You can see here, these three are overload coils. So these overload coils will be de-energized. Now as the overload coils are de-energized, this D contact which was closed, it will open. I'll show you how it is open. Okay, so now what has happened? My contact has opened. Now as my contact has opened, again what will happen? Again the circuit is open. So again the contactor C coil will de-energize. So let us see what happens next. So as it is de-energized, again what will happen? Auxiliary contacts will open, main contact will open in this way, and again my motor will be disconnected from the supply. So in this way overload protection is provided to the motor. So as a result, supply to the motor is disconnected. Next is for the short circuit protection. So here you can see the three fuses are connected in each line. So these fuses are used for the short circuit protection. So what will happen in case of short circuit? In case of short circuit, the fuse will melt and motor will be directly disconnected from the supply. As the coil C will de-energize, motor will be disconnected from the supply. So in this way, in direct online starter, these three protection schemes are provided. First is under voltage protection, next is overload protection, and third is short circuit protection. So this is the working of direct online starter. So what are the advantages of direct online starter? So it is a very simple and cheap method, first of all. Also, we know that the starting current can be as large as 10 times at the full load current. Also, the starting torque is also equal to the full load torque. So if such a high value of current as well as high value of load torque is supplied to the motor windings will get damaged. So such large starting current will produce excessive voltage drop in the line supplying the motor. Now, which motors use this type of starter? So this type of starter is used for small rating of motor, that is up to 5 kilowatt. It can be started by DOL starter. Now let us see the theory of direct switching of DOL starter. So here we are going to assume certain terms. So let IST be the value of starting current which is drawn from the mains, that is from the line per phase. Then IFL is a full load current which is drawn from the supply line per phase. Similarly, let TST be the value of the starting torque. Then TFL be the value of full load torque. SFL is the value of slip at full load. Now we know that rotor copper loss is equal to slip multiplied by rotor input. So we have already studied this derivation. If you want, you can refer to that video again. So we can write 3I2 square R2, that is your rotor copper loss, is equal to S, that is slip, multiplied by 2 pi ns, that is nothing but omega S, multiplied by TD, that is the torque. Let it be equation number 1. Now if we modify this equation to find the equation for torque, we get TD is equal to 3I2 square R2 divided by 2 pi ns multiplied by S. Let it be equation number 2. Now we know that at starting, the value of the motor speed, that is NR, is equal to 0. So we know that the formula of slip is equal to NS minus NR upon NS. As NR, that is the speed of the motor, is 0, the value of slip is 1. So if we substitute in the equation, what we will get? I2 is equal to, we will assume this, that I2ST is nothing but I2. Therefore, TD is equal to TST. That is the starting torque is equal to developed torque. Or at starting, the torque of the motor is starting torque. So if we substitute in the equation 2, we get starting torque is equal to 3 I2ST square. So instead of I2, we have replaced it by I2ST. So starting torque is equal to 3 I2 square ST R2 divided by 2 pi NS. Let it be equation number 3. Now let us see what happens at full load condition. So at full load condition, let us assume that slip is the slip at full load, that is SFL. Similarly, I2 will become the full load current. So I2 is equal to I2FL. Also, the torque will become TFL, that is the full load torque. So again, we can modify the equation 2 as full load torque TFL is equal to, instead of I2, we have replaced I2FL. So 3 I2FL square R2 divided by 2 pi ns, and instead of slip, we are going to assume SFL, that is full load slip. Let it be equation number 4. Now, if we take the ratio of equation 3 to equation 4, then we will get TST, that is starting torque to full load torque, is equal to 3 I2ST square R2 divided by 2 pi ns multiplied by 2 pi ns into SFL, that is the full load slip, divided by 3 I2 square FL R2. Now we can see in this equation certain terms will get cancelled. So let us see what happens further. So after cancelling the terms, we get starting torque to full load torque is equal to I2ST square divided by I2FL square multiplied by full load slip. Let it be equation number 4. Now if we consider that the no load current is neglected, then we can say that starting current multiplied by effective stator turns is equal to I2ST multiplied by effective rotor turns. Let it be equation number 6. Similarly, I2FL, that is a full load current multiplied by effective stator turns, is equal to I2FL multiplied by effective rotor turns. Now let us take the ratio of equation 6 to equation 7. Then we will get I2ST or IST divided by IFL is equal to I2ST divided by I2FL. Let it be equation number 8. So now from equation 5 and equation 8, let me show you equation number 5. So here, this was our equation number 5 and this was our equation number 8. So let us do some modification. So from equation 5 and equation 8, what we can say is TST divided by TFL is equal to IST square divided by IFL square multiplied by slip at full load, that is SFL. Let it be equation number 9. Now if we consider that V1 is the value of stator voltage per phase equivalent. Similarly, ZE10 is standstill impedance per phase of the motor referred to stator. Then the current which is developed at the starting can be given by formula IST is equal to V1 by ZE10, which is nothing but the short circuit current, that is ISC. Let it be equation number 10. So here we can say that our starting current is nothing but our short circuit current. So starting current is equal to short circuit current. Now if we combine equation 9 and 10, so what we are going to do? Instead of IST, we are going to replace it by ISC, that is short circuit current. So we will get TST divided by TFL is equal to I square SC divided by IFL square multiplied by SL. Now from this equation, it is very clear that our starting current is equal to short circuit current. So at starting, the current which is drawn by the motor is equal to short circuit current, which is a very high value. So this is the theory of direct switching or direct starting, that is the direct online starting of squirrel cage induction motor. So in this way, we have studied the DOL or direct online starter. This type of starter does not reduce the starting current or the starting torque. We are providing direct voltage, that is the supply voltage to the motor, but the starter has the arrangement which protects the motor from under voltage, overload as well as short circuit condition. Thank you.